Good morning and welcome to Jam Virtual Church. It's really good to be with you. And if you've forgotten, this is your moment to go and make a card or a picture for your mum, because today is Mothering Sunday or Mother's Day, a day when we remember and celebrate all the amazing mums and women who have played a really important role in our lives already. And it might be that it's your mum, it might be your grandma, or someone else who has made a real difference in your life, and you might want to say thank you to them today. So if you've forgotten, don't worry, we all forget things, but now is your opportunity to maybe sneak off, grab some paper and make a lovely picture for your mum or whoever it is that's looking after you. Today we're going to be hearing about a story that involves actually Jesus's mum, and it's right at the beginning of when Jesus started to do his amazing things. And it was a time when Jesus's mother just knew that Jesus could do something about this problem and prompted him to maybe act and help, and that's exactly what happened. We really hope you have a great morning with us here at Jam Virtual Church. We really can't wait till we can be back with you, and we've still got an action-packed, exciting program planned with lots of things coming up as we build towards Easter and the Easter story that is there to share with you. So I hope you have a really great morning and really enjoy your time worshipping and learning all about Jesus today. See you later.
I'm gonna jump up and down, I'm gonna spin round and round, I'm gonna praise your name forever. Gonna shout out loud, gonna deafen the crowd, I'm gonna send my praise to heaven. Gonna jump up and down, I'm gonna spin round and round, I'm gonna praise your name forever. Gonna shout out loud, gonna deafen the crowd, I'm gonna send my praise to heaven. I will run this race and I will never stop. I'll follow Jesus till the day I drop. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. When you've got such a lot, when you've got not a lot, what? Be happy. I'm gonna jump up and down, I'm gonna spin round and round, I'm gonna praise your name forever. Gonna shout out loud, gonna deafen the crowd, I'm gonna send my praise to heaven. Gonna jump up and down, I'm gonna spin round and round, I'm gonna praise your name forever. Gonna shout out loud, gonna deafen the crowd, I'm gonna send my praise to heaven. I will run this race and I will never stop. I'll follow Jesus till the day I drop. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. When you've got such a lot, when you've got not a lot, what? Be happy. I'm gonna jump up and down, I'm gonna spin round and round, I'm gonna praise your name forever. Gonna shout out loud, gonna deafen the crowd, I'm gonna send my praise to heaven. Gonna jump up and down, I'm gonna spin round and round, I'm gonna praise your name forever. Gonna shout out loud, gonna deafen the crowd, I'm gonna send my praise to heaven. Gonna send my praise to heaven. Gonna send my praise to heaven.
Hello, John here. The story this morning is the first miracle of Jesus. Now the people of Galilee knew how to party. And there was a party taking place in a small village called Capernaum. It was a wedding party and many people had been invited, not just from Capernaum, but also from the neighbouring villages like Nazareth. You may remember that Nazareth was the village where Jesus had lived with his mum and dad and his brothers and sisters. Mary, Jesus' mum, still lived in Nazareth, and she had been invited to this wedding. Jesus had also received an invitation, as had several of his disciples. The party had been going on for some hours. It had started early in the morning when the first guests arrived, and was likely to go on all night and probably in the best part of tomorrow. Some people left and some new guests arrived. It was all very informal. Food and drink was being served whenever anyone was hungry or thirsty. It was some time into the evening when Mary approached her son. "Jesus, there's a problem." He looked up, concerned. What could have happened? "They've run out of wine," she whispered in his ear. Jesus looked at her for a few moments. "So," said Jesus, "what do you expect me to do about it?" She looked at him, waited, and then she turned to one of the servants nearby and said, loud enough for Jesus to hear, "Go with Jesus and be sure to do exactly what he tells you." Jesus went out and found a row of large water jugs. "Fill up those jugs with water," he told the servant. "When you've done that, take all the jugs over to the bar and give them to the steward." At the bar, the steward was surprised to see the jugs arrived. He tasted the contents of the first jug. "Wow, that's good. But I can't understand why the host has kept this, the best wine, to last." This was the first time that Jesus had showed his supernatural powers. Very few people had seen what had happened, but Mary had, and she wasn't surprised at all.
For this experiment, we'll need
a bottle of water, half full. You need some ordinary vegetable oil and some blue food colouring. First of all, we're going to add some of the blue food colouring to the water, just to make it look like the water you'll see perhaps at the beach or at a lake when the sky's blue, because that's why water looks blue, because it's reflecting the blue colour of the sky. Water's really very clear, no colour at all. And then we're going to take our vegetable oil, and you might need the help of somebody to do this with a very steady hand. And we're going to pour the vegetable oil onto the water and have a look at what happens. Just do it very steadily. What can you see happening? We'll put the lid back on the oil because we don't want to spill it, and we'll put the top back on the water bottle. You might want to secure it with a little bit of sticky tape to make sure it doesn't come off. Can you see what's happened? The golden oil hasn't mixed with the water, it's just sitting on top of it in two layers, and that's because oil is lighter than water, because the molecules that make up the oil are much bigger and they can't push together as close together as the smaller molecules of water can. Therefore it turns out to be lighter. If you turn this on its side, you can see that the oil stays on top of the water. And if we tip it to one side, then you can start to make waves form. If you just tip it a little bit, you get little waves, like the little waves that come on the beach. If you tip it larger, more, you can make big waves form, like crash onto the beach in a storm. When we tip the bottle from side to side, it puts energy into the water and waves form between the two. Just like wind blowing over the sea puts energy into the water and forms waves. You can see waves in lots of different places. You can see them on the sea. You can see them sometimes in clouds in the air when the clouds break up into stripes. Sometimes you can feel them in the air too. If you've ever ridden on an aeroplane and it's got a bit bumpy during the flight, that's because the plane is going through waves in the atmosphere and it's pushing and pulling the plane around. Have you ever been in a boat when you've been tossed around by waves? Or maybe in life you felt a bit like that, going up and down, being pushed around, not quite sure when it's going to end. Maybe you've had some trouble in arguing with your friends at school or in the neighbourhood? Well, we ask Jesus to bring you peace and make the waves still. Or maybe you've had some trouble in your family and faced some difficult times. Well, we say, Jesus, please come and bring us peace and make the waves still. Or maybe you know people who are finding life very hard at the moment. We lift them to Jesus and we say, Jesus, come and bring them peace. Jesus, as you stilled the storm on the lake when you were asleep in the boat, still the storms of our life and bring us peace.
Every blade of grass, every sunset sky, every starry night, every mountain high, every single thing that your hands have made gives you glory, gives you glory, gives you praise. And I want to praise you too, for no one is as wonderful as you. And I want the world to see that the God of all creation is a friend to me. Every bird that sings, every shining sea, every blooming flower, every towering tree, every single thing that your hands have made gives you glory, gives you glory, gives you praise. And I want to praise you too, for no one is as wonderful as you. And I want the world to see that the God of all creation is a friend to me. And I want to praise you too, for no one is as wonderful as you. And I want the world to see that the God of all creation is a friend to me.
Like a loving parent, you watch over us. We pray that your heavenly goodness may be seen everywhere. May all of the people in the world have what they need to be truly happy. And when we failed to live according to your loving ways, please forgive us. Help us not to give in to the desire to do things we know that are wrong. Keep us from harm, and when we are wronged, we may learn to forgive. You are in control now and forever. Amen.
The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. His presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He's with you. He's with you in the morning, in the evening, in the coming, in the going, in the weeping, in rejoicing. He's for you. 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 Amen. Amen. Amen.